My uncle took me in when I was 13. Not because he was kind, not because he loved me, because my parents dumped me on his doorstep with 2 garbage bags of clothes and drove away without looking back. I remember standing there watching their taillights disappear down his gravel driveway. Mom didn't cry. Dad didn't turn around. They just left. Uncle Richard opened the door behind me. Didn't say anything for a long time. Just stood there with his coffee mug, staring at the dust cloud where their car had been. "They coming back?" he finally asked. "No." He nodded like he'd expected that answer. "You eat breakfast?" "No." "Come on then." That was it. No hugs, no apologies, no promises that everything would be okay. Just breakfast. The house was massive. Not mansion massive, but big enough that I got lost the first week. Richard had made his money in commercial real estate, buying up strip malls and office buildings across 3 counties. He worked from home mostly, spending hours in his office on the phone, talking numbers and percentages in that flat, bored voice of his. He set me up in a bedroom on the 2nd floor, clean sheets, empty dresser, window overlooking the back acreage where he kept a small workshop and an old truck he was always meaning to fix. "School starts Monday," he said that first night at dinner. "You'll take the bus from the end of the drive. I'm not driving you." "Okay. You do your homework, you keep your room clean, you don't steal from me. We'll get along fine." "Okay." He cut into his pork chop. "Your mother's my sister. I love her. But she's an idiot. Your father's worse. You're probably better off here." I didn't know what to say to that, so I just ate. The first year was quiet. Richard worked. I went to school. We ate dinner together most nights, watching the news or some documentary about World War II. He liked those. Never talked during them, just watched with that same flat expression he wore during business calls. Sometimes I'd catch him looking at me, not staring, just glancing over like he was checking to make sure I was still there. Then he'd look back at the TV. I tried calling Mom twice that first month. Both times it went to voicemail. After that, I stopped trying. Richard noticed. "You'll get used to it," he said one night. "Used to what?" "Being forgotten." He said it like he was commenting on the weather. At school, I kept my head down, made a few friends, didn't mention my parents. When people asked, I just said I lived with my uncle. Most didn't push further. The ones who did got vague answers until they gave up. By sophomore year, I'd stopped thinking about Mom and Dad much. They sent a birthday card once. No money inside. Just signatures. I threw it away. Richard's routine never changed. Up at 6, coffee, work, lunch at noon, more work, dinner at 6:30, TV until 9, bed. On weekends, he'd disappear into his workshop for hours, building furniture or fixing things that didn't need fixing. I'd help sometimes. He'd show me how to use the tools, correct my grip on a chisel or the angle of a saw. Never praised me when I got it right. Just moved on to the next step. "You paying attention?" he'd ask. "Yeah." "Good, because I'm only showing you once." That was his version of caring. Junior year, I got a part-time job bagging groceries. Richard didn't ask me to. I just did it. Started saving money in an old coffee can under my bed. Didn't know what for. Just seemed like something I should do. Richard found out when the store manager called the house asking about my schedule. He didn't say anything about it until dinner that night. "You working now?" "Yeah." "Good, open a bank account. That coffee can's stupid." I did. He drove me to the bank himself, sat in the car while I filled out the paperwork. Didn't come inside. Senior year came fast. College applications, SATs. Everyone asking what I wanted to do with my life. I didn't know. Picked engineering because Richard said it was practical. Got into state school. Not Ivy League, not prestigious. Just solid, affordable. Richard read the acceptance letter at dinner, folded it, set it down. "You got scholarships?" "Some. I'll need loans for the rest." He nodded, cut his steak, chewed, swallowed. "I'll cover it." I looked up. "What?" "Your tuition, room, Bored. I'll cover it. You focus on grades. Uncle Richard, I can't. You can. And you will. I don't have kids. Money's just sitting there. Might as well use it for something. I'll pay you back. No, you won't. You'll graduate, get a job, build your own life. That's payment enough. He went back to eating, like he hadn't just changed everything. I graduated high school, spent the summer working full-time at the grocery store, saved every penny even though I didn't need to anymore. Old habits. College was strange at first. Dorm life, roommates, freedom I'd never had. I called Richard once a week, told him about classes. He'd grunt acknowledgement and ask if I needed anything. I always said no. Halfway through freshman year, he called me. Middle of the week, late afternoon. You coming home for Thanksgiving? I was planning to. Good. I'm seeing someone. Thought you should meet her. I almost dropped the phone. You're what? Don't make a big deal out of it. Her name's Anne. She works for the county assessor's office. We've been seeing each other a few months. Uncle Richard, that's great. It's fine. Just wanted to let you know before you showed up. He hung up. Anne was sharp, mid-40s, short dark hair, wore sensible clothes and spoke in complete sentences. Didn't try too hard to impress me. Just shook my hand and asked about school. Dinner that night was different. Richard actually smiled, laughed at something Anne said, poured wine for all three of us, even though I wasn't 21 yet. Your uncle talks about you, Anne said. Does he? All the time. He's very proud. I glanced at Richard. He was cutting his turkey like he hadn't heard her. He doesn't show it much, I said. No, but he feels it. After dinner, Anne helped clear the table. Richard disappeared into his office for a work call. She and I loaded the dishwasher in comfortable silence. He's a good man, she finally said. Doesn't know how to talk about feelings, but he cares, more than most. I know. Good. Because he needs people who understand that. She wasn't asking me anything, just stating fact. They got married the summer after my sophomore year. Small ceremony, justice of the peace. Anne's sister and me as witnesses. Richard wore a suit he'd owned for 20 years. Anne wore a blue dress she'd bought the week before. Afterward, we went to a steakhouse. Richard ordered champagne, toasted to good decisions and better company. Anne moved into the house, started redecorating. Not much, just small changes, new curtains, different furniture arrangement. Richard let her do whatever she wanted. Seemed happy about it, even. I went back to school, called more often. Anne would answer sometimes, tell me about their week. Richard would get on eventually, ask about my grades. Anne's good for you, I said once. I know. You seem different. That's because I am different. Now focus on your studies. Junior year, I brought a girlfriend home for Christmas. Emma, engineering major, practical, funny. Richard liked her immediately, which meant he nodded when she spoke and didn't leave the room. Anne loved her. They talked for hours about hiking trails and historical landmarks. Emma fit right in. She's good, Richard said later that night. We were in his workshop. He was showing me a cabinet he'd been building. Yeah. You planning to marry her? I don't know. Maybe. Don't wait too long. Good ones don't stick around forever. Coming from him, that was poetry. Emma and I broke up in the spring. She wanted to move to California after graduation. I didn't. We ended it clean. No drama, just incompatibility. I told Richard over the phone. He was quiet for a moment. You okay? Yeah, it wasn't meant to be. All right then. Call your aunt. She'll want to check on you. He meant Anne. I called her. She listened while I explained. Didn't offer advice, just listened. You'll be fine, she finally said. You're Richard's nephew. You know how to handle disappointment. She was right. Senior year came fast. Job interviews, graduation planning. Mom called out of nowhere in March. Hey, sweetie! Like no time had passed. Like she hadn't abandoned me 15 years ago. Mom? I heard you're graduating soon. That's so exciting. How'd you hear that? Oh, through the grapevine. I wanted to make sure we could come to the ceremony. We, meaning her and Dad. I don't think that's a good idea. What? Why not? We're your parents. You stopped being my parents when you left me at Uncle Richard's. That's not fair. We were going through a hard time. We did what was best for everyone. You did what was best for you. You sound just like Richard. He always thought he was better than us. He is better than you. She hung up. I told Richard about it that night. He was in the workshop as usual, sanding a bookshelf. She called you too? He asked without looking up. No, why? She will. She's broke again. Probably thinks I'll help. Will you? No. He kept sanding. She wanted to come to my graduation, I said. You tell her no? Yeah. Good. That was it. Conversation over. Mom did call Richard, multiple times. He never answered. Just let it go to voicemail. Deleted the messages without listening. Anne listened to one once. Played it on speaker while we were eating lunch. Richard, it's your sister. I know you're mad, but I really need to talk to you. It's important. Please call me back. Anne deleted it. She sounds desperate. She's always desperate, Richard said. That's her natural state. Graduation came. I walked across that stage in my cap and gown. Richard and Anne sat in the audience, didn't cheer, didn't whoop, just watched. Afterward, Richard shook my hand. Proud of you, he said. Anne hugged me. You did it. We went to dinner, celebrated quietly. Richard gave me an envelope with a check inside, $5,000. For getting started, he said. Uncle Richard, I can't. Take it. Use it for first and last month's rent somewhere, or furniture, whatever you need. I took it. Started my first job in July. Engineering firm in the city, 40 minutes from Richard's house. Found an apartment, nothing fancy, just clean and affordable. Richard and Anne helped me move in. Brought furniture from the workshop Richard had built over the years. A table, chairs, bookshelf, bed frame. I made these for you, he said. Been working on them for a while. My throat went tight. When? Since you got accepted to college. Figured you'd need them eventually. 4 years. He'd been building furniture for me for 4 years. Thank you. He nodded. Kept unloading the truck. Life settled into routine. Work, gym, occasional dates that went nowhere. Visited Richard and Anne every few weeks for dinner. Everything was fine until the phone call. It was a Tuesday, middle of the day. I was at work when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Hello? Is this Jack? Yeah, who's this? This is Dr. Patel from Memorial Hospital. I'm calling about Richard Bennett. My stomach dropped. What happened? He's had a heart attack. He's stable now, but we need you to come in. Anne listed you as next of kin. I left work immediately. Drove too fast, parked in the emergency lot and ran inside. Anne was in the waiting room, face pale, hands shaking. He's okay, she said immediately. He's okay. They got him stabilized. What happened? We were having breakfast. He just grabbed his chest and went down. I called 911 right away. Can I see him? Soon. They're moving him to a room. We waited. I held Anne's hand. She didn't cry, just stared at the wall. They let us in an hour later. Richard was in a hospital bed, hooked up to monitors, eyes closed, breathing steady. He's sedated, the doctor said. We performed an angioplasty, cleared the blockage. He should make a full recovery, but he'll need lifestyle changes. Diet, exercise, stress reduction. He'll do it, Anne said. He has to. Richard opened his eyes that evening, looked at us both, frowned. Stop hovering. You had a heart attack, Anne said. I'm aware. I was there. This isn't funny. I'm not laughing. I'm lying in a hospital bed feeling like an idiot. You're alive, I said. That's what matters. He looked at me. You left work? Obviously. Stupid. You'll get in trouble. I don't care. He closed his eyes. I'm tired. We let him rest. Richard came home 3 days later. Doctor's orders were strict. Anne turned into a drill sergeant. No salt, no red meat, daily walks, medication schedule. Richard complained constantly, but obeyed every rule. I visited more often, helped Anne with meals, kept Richard company during his walks. This is embarrassing, he muttered during one lap around the property. Why? I'm 58, too young for this. Heart attacks don't care how old you are. I know, doesn't make it less humiliating. You're alive, everything else is details. He grunted, kept walking. 6 months passed. Richard recovered, went back to work part-time, seemed smaller somehow, more careful. Anne watched him like a hawk. He pretended to be annoyed, but I could tell he appreciated it. Then one morning my phone rang. Anne, early, too early. Jack. Her voice was wrong, broken. What happened? He's gone. What? Richard. He died in his sleep. I woke up and he was just gone. The world tilted sideways. I'm coming. I drove in a daze, got to the house, ambulance in the driveway, Anne standing on the porch wrapped in a blanket. I held her while she cried. She felt so small, so fragile. He was fine yesterday, she kept saying. He was fine. They took him away. We stood there watching. Neither of us knew what to do next. The funeral was quiet. Maybe 50 people. Business associates, neighbors, Anne's family. Mom and Dad showed up. I saw them walking toward the grave site. Mom in a black dress she'd probably bought that morning. Dad in an old suit that didn't fit right. I intercepted them before they got close. Leave. Mom blinked. What? You heard me. Leave. We have a right to be here. He was my brother. You have no rights. You didn't call him, didn't visit. You're not welcome. You can't tell us what to do. Watch me. Dad shifted uncomfortably. Son? I'm not your son. Haven't been for 15 years. Get out of here or I'll have you removed. They left. I watched them go. Anne touched my arm. Thank you. We buried Richard on a Tuesday. Cold morning, gray sky. Anne threw the first handful of dirt on the casket. I threw the second. Afterward, everyone gathered at the house. People I didn't know telling stories about Richard. Business deals, hunting trips, golf games. None of them knew him. Not really. I found Anne in Richard's workshop. She was standing by his workbench, running her hand over the smooth wood. He was building you another bookshelf, she said, for when you got a bigger place. I couldn't speak. He loved you, she continued. More than anything. You were the son he never had. I know. Good. Because what comes next, you need to remember that. What comes next? She turned to face me, eyes dry now, expression calm. The will reading is Friday. Your mother will be there. How do you know? Because Richard left her something, and she knows it. Before we continue, hit the hype button, subscribe, and like the video to help the channel grow. Tell us which city you are from in the comments. We'd love to get to know our audience better. The law office was downtown. Old building, dark wood paneling, leather chairs that creaked when you sat down. The kind of place where money changed hands quietly. Anne and I arrived 15 minutes early. The receptionist led us to a conference room. Long table, windows overlooking the street, coffee service nobody was drinking. We sat in silence. Anne checked her phone. I stared at the wall. At exactly 2 o'clock, the door opened. Mom walked in like she owned the place, Dad trailing behind her. She'd dressed up, new outfit, hair done, makeup perfect. She smiled when she saw me. Jack, it's so good to see you. I didn't respond. Her smile faltered. She looked at Anne. You must be Richard's wife. I'm Janet, his sister. This is my husband, Tom. Anne nodded, didn't shake hands. I know who you are. Mom's smile tightened. She sat across from us. Dad sat next to her, looking uncomfortable. "I can't believe Richard's gone," Mom said. "It's just so sudden." Silence. "We talked all the time, you know. He was always so supportive." "That's a lie," I said quietly. "Excuse me?" "You never talked to him. He deleted your voicemails without listening." Her face flushed. "That's not true." "It is. I was there. You always were a difficult child. And you were always a terrible mother." Dad cleared his throat. "Let's not do this here." "Where should we do it? You both abandoned me, pretended I didn't exist for 15 years. Now you show up expecting what? Forgiveness? Money?" "Richard was my brother," Mom said. "I have a right to be here." "You have nothing." The door opened again. The lawyer walked in. Mid-60s, gray hair, expensive suit. He carried a leather folder and a manila envelope. "Good afternoon. I'm Gregory Walsh. I handled Richard's estate planning. Thank you all for coming." He sat at the head of the table, opened the folder, pulled out papers. "Let's begin. This is the last will and testament of Richard David Bennett, dated 6 months ago, witnessed and notarized per state requirements." 6 months ago, right after the heart attack. Walsh put on reading glasses. Richard's instructions were very specific. He wanted me to read this exactly as written. He cleared his throat. "I, Richard David Bennett, being of sound mind and body, do hereby declare this my last will and testament." Standard opening. Legal language. I stopped listening until Walsh got to the distributions. "To my wife, Anne Marie Bennett, I leave our home, all its contents, my personal vehicles, and my retirement accounts. Additionally, I leave her my entire stock portfolio and 50% of my liquid assets." Anne closed her eyes briefly. I squeezed her hand under the table. "To my nephew, Jack Thomas Bennett, I leave 50% of my liquid assets, my commercial real estate holdings, and my business interests. This includes all rental properties, office buildings, and associated revenue streams." I blinked. "What?" Walsh continued. "I also leave Jack all tools, equipment, and contents of my workshop, with the hope that he continues to build things that last." My throat closed up. Mom was leaning forward now, eyes bright, calculating. Walsh turned a page. "To my sister, Janet Marie Thompson, I leave the following message." He paused, looked at Mom. "Janet, you stopped being my sister when you abandoned your son. You called me twice in 15 years, both times asking for money. I gave you nothing then. I give you nothing now." Mom's face went white. Walsh kept reading. "You drove to my funeral expecting an inheritance. You're reading this expecting a share of my estate. You will receive exactly what you gave Jack. Nothing." The room was silent. Everything I built was for people who stayed, who showed up, who cared when it wasn't convenient. You were never one of those people. Mom stood up, chair scraping loud against the floor. "This is ridiculous. I'm contesting this." Walsh looked at her over his glasses. "You can try." Richard anticipated that. He included a no-contest clause. "Anyone who challenges this will forfeit any right to inheritance from any connected estate. Forever." Connected estate? Anne's estate. Jack's estate. You challenge this, you lose any claim to anything any of them might leave you in the future. Dad put a hand on Mom's arm. "Janet, sit down." "No." She was shaking now, voice rising. "He was my brother. I deserve something." "You deserve exactly what you got," Anne said quietly, "which is nothing." Mom turned on her. "You poisoned him against me. You convinced him to write me out." "I didn't have to convince him of anything. He made these decisions 6 months ago, after the heart attack, when he was thinking clearly about what mattered. I'm his family." "No," I said. "You're related to him. That's not the same thing." Mom grabbed her purse, glared at all of us. "You haven't heard the last of this." She stormed out. Dad hesitated, looked at me. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. Then he followed her. Walsh set down the papers. That went better than expected. better? I asked. Richard told me to call security if she became physically violent. I'm glad it didn't come to that. He pulled out the manila envelope. These are the property deeds, bank account information, and portfolio details. Everything's been transferred per Richard's instructions. You'll need to meet with accountants and property managers, but the assets are legally yours as of this morning. He slid papers toward Anne and me. Take your time reviewing these. Contact my office if you have questions. Richard left detailed instructions for everything. Anne picked up her stack. I picked up mine. The weight of it felt wrong. Too much responsibility. Too much trust. Walsh stood. Richard was a good man. Private. Difficult sometimes. But good. He knew exactly what he wanted. Made sure it happened. He left us there. Anne and I sat in silence. Papers scattered between us. Did you know? I asked. Some of it. He told me he was changing the will after the heart attack, but not the details. This is too much. It's what he wanted. I don't deserve this. She looked at me sharply. Don't insult his judgment. He knew exactly what he was doing. But he loved you, more than his own sister, more than anyone except me. This isn't charity. It's family. Accept it. I looked down at the papers. Property addresses, account numbers, valuations, millions. Richard had left me millions. What do I do with all this? You honor his memory. You build something that lasts, just like he taught you. She gathered her papers, stood. Come on, we need to get these to the accountants, and then we need to talk about your mother. What about her? She's going to cause problems. We need to be ready. We left the conference room, walked through the lobby. Outside, the afternoon sun felt too bright, too normal. My phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. You think you've won, you haven't. We'll see you in court. Mom. Of course. I showed Anne. She read it, handed my phone back. Let her try. Richard made sure we're protected. This is going to get ugly. It already is ugly. We're just not running from it anymore. We drove to Anne's house. Richard's house. Mine now too, I guessed. Inside felt different. Empty. Even with all the furniture still there, it felt hollow. Anne made coffee. We sat at the kitchen table. Same table I'd eaten at hundreds of times. Richard's chair was empty. He started planning this after you graduated college, Anne said. Planning what? Everything. The will, the properties. He bought 3 more buildings in your name, set up trust structures, made sure you'd be taken care of. Why didn't he tell me? Because he didn't want you to feel obligated. He wanted you to build your own life. This was just insurance, in case something happened. Something did happen. I know. We drank our coffee. The house settled around us, familiar creaks and sounds. What about you? I asked. Are you okay? No, but I will be. What do you need? Time, and for you to promise me something. What? Don't let your mother destroy what Richard built. He worked too hard, cared too much. I won't. Good. She reached across the table, squeezed my hand. We're family now. Real family. The kind that shows up. We've always been family. I know, but Richard wanted to make sure everyone else knew it too. My phone buzzed again. Different number this time. This is Patricia Reeves from the county assessor's office. I'm calling about several properties recently transferred to your name. We need to schedule a meeting regarding tax assessments and code compliance issues. Please call back immediately. I showed Anne. She frowned. That's my office. You know her? Patricia? She's 3 desks over from me. Why is she calling you about this? I don't know. Anne pulled out her own phone, dialed, put it on speaker. Patricia, it's Anne Bennett. Anne, I was just trying to reach Jack. I'm here with him. What's this about code compliance? Oh, well, someone filed complaints about 3 properties, all recently transferred. The timing seemed suspicious, so I thought I should call. Who filed the complaints? I can't say. Anonymous tip line. Anne's expression hardened. When were they filed? This morning, right after the property transfers posted. This morning. Yes, is there a problem? No. Thank you for letting us know. We'll handle it. Anne hung up. Mom, I said. Has to be. She knew about the will reading today. Probably called in the complaints the moment she left. Can she do that? Anyone can file a complaint. Doesn't mean it's valid. What do? We schedule inspections, we fix any legitimate issues, and we document everything. She was already texting someone. Efficient. Focused. I'm calling our property manager. He'll coordinate with the inspectors. This is harassment, but we still need to take it seriously. This is insane. This is your mother. Did you expect anything different? She had a point. The rest of the afternoon was phone calls. Property managers, lawyers, accountants. Everyone needed information. Everyone had questions. By 6 o'clock, I was exhausted. Anne ordered pizza. We ate in the living room, too tired to sit at the table properly. This is our life now, she said. What? Managing Richard's empire. Dealing with family drama. It's what he dealt with. Now it's ours. I have a job. You'll need to quit. These properties need active management. The revenue's enough to live on. More than enough. I can't just quit. Why not? Because I don't know. It feels wrong. Richard built this for you. Use it. I thought about my apartment, my job, the life I'd constructed piece by piece. I need time. Take it, but not too much. Your mother's going to escalate. We need to be ready. She was right. I could feel it coming. The storm gathering. My phone rang. Unknown number again. Hello? Jack Bennett? Yeah. This is Detective Morrison with the police department. We received a complaint about harassment and threatening behavior. Your name was mentioned. Do you have time to come in and answer some questions? I looked at Anne. She closed her eyes. What complaint? I can't discuss details over the phone. Can you come in tomorrow morning? Say 9 a.m.? Am I being charged with something? No, sir. We just need to ask you some questions. Clear some things up. I'll be there. Thank you. He hung up. Let me guess, Anne said. Your mother filed a police report. Has to be. This is escalating fast. What do I do? You show up tomorrow with a lawyer. You answer their questions honestly, and you document everything. She picked up her phone again. Started texting. I'm calling our attorney. He'll meet you there. This is crazy. This is war. Richard warned me this might happen. That's why he structured everything so carefully. He knew Mom would do this? He suspected. Your mother's desperate. Desperate people do stupid things. I sat back against the couch, stared at the ceiling. 2 days ago, I was an engineer with a quiet life. Now I owned commercial real estate, and my mother was filing false police reports. I miss him, I said. Me too. We sat there in the darkening room, pizza getting cold, neither of us moving. Outside, the world kept turning. But inside that house, everything had stopped. Richard was gone. And now we had to figure out how to move forward without him. I called Klein immediately. I thought this was settled. It was. This is different. A cousin you didn't know about. Claiming Richard promised him money years ago. Can he do that? He can try, won't succeed, but it'll be annoying. How annoying? Court appearances, depositions, maybe a trial. After 15 years? Statute of limitations is 20 years for estate disputes. He barely made the window. I sat down heavily. Here we go again. Jack, you're not that kid anymore. You have resources, experience. You'll handle this. He was right, but it still exhausted me. The cousin's name was David Reynolds, early 60s. Hadn't seen Richard in 30 years, claimed they'd been close, that Richard promised to leave him money. His evidence was thin, some old letters, a few photographs, nothing legally binding. Klein dismantled his case in depositions. Can you produce documentation of this promise? It was verbal. Any witnesses? That's convenient. I'm telling the truth. Truth requires evidence. You have none. The case took 6 months. Court appearances, paperwork, stress. Anne handled it better than me. This is just noise. We know the truth. Doesn't make it less frustrating. No, but we're not 14 anymore. We can handle noise. She was right. We could. The judge dismissed Reynolds's case, called it frivolous, awarded us attorney's fees. Reynolds appealed, lost, appealed again, lost harder, finally stopped. Some people never learn, Klein said after the final dismissal. Some people are desperate. That too. Life returned to normal. Foundation work, property management, family. Marcus got married, invited us to the wedding. Anne cried through the ceremony. You okay? I whispered. He's ours, even though he's not. He's ours. I know. Maya graduated college, top of her class, multiple job offers, chose a firm that specialized in affordable housing. I want to give back, she said, like you gave to me. You don't owe us anything. I know, but I want to. That's different. She started designing buildings for the foundation, pro bono, beautiful work, functional, efficient. These are incredible, Anne said, reviewing the plans. She has talent, real talent. Richard's talent. No, her own. That's better. We broke ground on Maya's first building. Ceremony with the mayor, press coverage, recognition. Maya stood beside me at the podium, nervous, excited. This building represents possibility, she said during her speech. When I was 13, I had nothing. Now I'm designing buildings, creating homes. That's what possibility looks like. Thank you. Brief, powerful, perfect. The building took 2 years to complete. 50 units, all for foundation kids, supportive housing with integrated services. We named it Bennett House. After Richard, his legacy continuing. Opening day brought everyone, kids, alumni, staff, city officials, press. I gave the final speech. My uncle taught me that building isn't just construction. It's hope. It's opportunity. It's showing people they matter. This building represents all of that. Thank you. After the ceremony, I found Anne in Richard's old office. We'd recreated it exactly. Same desk, same filing cabinets, same organized chaos. You okay? I asked. I was just thinking about that first day, when Richard opened the door, when you were standing there with your garbage bags. That was a long time ago. Feels like yesterday. And like forever ago. She smiled. You're stealing my lines. We've been together too long. Not possible. I pulled her close. No, it's not. That evening my phone rang. Unknown number. I'd learned to be cautious. Hello? Jack Bennett? Who's asking? My name is Thomas Mitchell. I'm an attorney. I'm calling about your father. I tensed. What about him? He passed away last week. You're listed as next of kin. I sat down. I haven't spoken to my father in 15 years. I understand, but there are legal matters to resolve. Estate, burial, final arrangements. I'm not handling any of that. Sir, you're the only living relative. That doesn't make it my responsibility. He chose his life. I chose mine. There's a small estate, a few $1,000s, some personal effects. Donate it. I don't want anything. Are you certain? I'm certain. We were done a long time ago. I hung up, told Anne. How do you feel? She asked. Nothing. Same as with Mom. That's okay. Is it, though? Shouldn't I feel something? You feel what you feel. They gave up their rights. You don't owe them grief. She was right. I didn't. I never went to Dad's funeral. Never claimed his things. Never thought about him again. Some chapters close cleanly. That's okay. The foundation celebrated its 15th anniversary. Huge event. Formal dinner. Speeches, recognition. 700 kids had gone through our programs. 75% success rate. Stable housing, jobs, education, better lives. Marcus gave a speech. I came here with nothing. 2 garbage bags and anger. Jack and Ann gave me tools. Education, hope. Now I run my own firm. I employ 15 people. I'm building a life. That's what this foundation does. It builds lives. Thank you. Standing ovation. Maya spoke next. I was abandoned, forgotten, scared. This foundation gave me safety, education, purpose. Now I design buildings. I create homes. I give back. That's the cycle. We receive. We grow. We give back. Thank you. More applause. Anne spoke. Richard started this, even though he didn't know it. He took in a 13-year-old boy, gave him shelter, education, love. That boy grew up, built something beautiful. Now we're all part of it. Thank you. Tears, hugs, celebration. I spoke last. My uncle once told me to build something that lasts, something that matters. I didn't understand then. I do now. This foundation is what lasts. These kids, their futures, their success. That's what matters. Richard would be proud. I know I am. Thank you. The room erupted, people on their feet, applause lasting minutes. After everyone left, Anne and I stood in the empty ballroom. We did it, she said. We did. Really did it. Built something that lasts. 15 years, 700 kids. It's incredible. Richard would explode with pride. I laughed. He'd probably just nod, say it's adequate. That's Richard's version of exploding with pride. We drove home, our building, our life, built piece by piece. That night I dreamed about Richard. We were in the workshop. He was showing me something I couldn't quite see. Pay attention, he said. I am. No, you're not. You're thinking about yesterday. Think about tomorrow. What's tomorrow? Whatever you build today, that's always been true. I woke up. 3 a.m. Anne sleeping beside me. I got up, went to the workshop, turned on the lights. Richard's old tools hung on the wall, worn, used, perfect. I picked up a chisel, started working on a new project. Rocking chair. Something simple, something lasting. I worked until sunrise. Anne found me covered in sawdust. Couldn't sleep? Had to build something. What? Don't know yet. Just needed to build. Richard would understand. Richard would be in here with me. Probably. She brought coffee. We sat together. Workshop quiet, except for the sound of wind outside. What's next? She asked. For what? The foundation, our work, life. I thought about it, about the 700 kids, about Marcus and Maya, about everything built so far. More buildings, more kids, better programs. There's always more to build. You sound like Richard. Good. It is good. He'd be proud. I hope so. I know so. We sat there as morning light filled the workshop. New day, new possibilities, all built on foundations laid long ago, by a man who took in a 13-year-old boy, gave him tools, taught him patience, showed him how to build things that last. Richard was gone, but his legacy remained, growing, expanding, evolving, built by that same boy. Now, a man, still building, still learning, still grateful, for second chances, for patient teachers, for the knowledge that building something beautiful from something broken is always possible. That's what Richard taught me. That's what I teach now. And the work continues, every day, every project, every kid, building things that last, just like Richard showed me.